Welcome to Biz Help for You with host Candy Messer. Entrepreneurs like to focus on the big picture, like profitability, success, and a smooth running organization. But there always seems to be those little things like taxes, employee compensation, laws, regulations, and more. Now you can get the answers you need in one place. Join us today as we break it all down for you. Now, here's your host, Candy Messer.
Hello and welcome to Biz Help for You with Candy Messer. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the topic of our last episode, the benefits of overseas investing. If you were unable to join us and would like to listen to the show, links can be found on my YouTube and Facebook pages, as well as multiple favorite podcast platforms. And if you'd like to receive notifications on when our podcasts have been uploaded, please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at our website, media@abandp.com. Now let's learn a little bit about our guest today. Jannette's title is the Expansionist because she helps people and businesses grow. With over 35 years of strategic planning, sales, and marketing experience, and yes, she started when she was 7, she is a contrarian, which just means she focuses on what really works for entrepreneurs. She has done her time in the corporate trenches and roles ranging from print shop press operator to VP professional services, but don't worry, she's cured now and promises to never again stray from her first, last, and only true love of showing business owners how to make a meaningful difference and a magnificent living. Jannette also brings her 30 plus years of personal transformation facilitation and coaching to bear on getting the 4 inches between your ears working so your life and business can work together beautifully. Whether she's speaking, training, or coaching, she will kick your butts and hold your heart as you step boldly into creating the positive results you are looking for. So Jannette, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it and appreciate being here.
Sure. Well, I always ask my guests just to give me just a tiny little bit more background about yourself and why are you passionate about helping entrepreneurs?
Well, one of the things I'm really passionate about is helping people figure out their why. So I will tell you a very brief story. When I was 5, I really wanted the book Heidi, and I begged my mom and begged, as only a very persistent Aries child can. And finally, one day she turned around and yelled at me, "We can't afford it." I was so shocked. And I was more shocked by, and I really remember to this day deciding, even though I was only 5, that I never wanted to see that look on another woman's face of shame and anger and frustration of not being able to say yes to being and doing and having what we want. And so I vowed right then to solve that problem and not have that be the case for me or for her or for anybody else if I could help it. So that was the beginning of my foray into entrepreneurialism as a solution. So I thought, oh, we don't have money, we need money. I'll have a business. So I decided that I was going to have a garage sale to make the money, which I did. I had a very successful garage sale. I'd seen someone else in the housing tenement we lived in do it. And I made $13.72. I remember to this day, Candy, how much I made. And I could count at 5 better than I could read and do anything else. So, so you would think, because there's a longer story about that, you would think that, problem solution, right? But in reality, it didn't quite turn out that way. My mom was not all that impressed that I had sold some of her knickknacks and household items and things. She wasn't around when I did it. So, so I got spanked. She took my money and I didn't get the book, or at least right away. And I lost most of my toys because the kids wouldn't sell them back to me. So you might think that's not a very good first entrepreneurial venture, but I actually consider it a big success because I could have, if I didn't have, someone take the money, I could have bought the book. And so it was a means to an end. And it really taught me some important lessons. The one is, don't go into business with family. Kind of sort of kidding about that, but not really. The second thing is that entrepreneurship can be a really valuable means to an end. It can help us not only express who we want to be in the world, but also get what we want to create and have the freedom that we want to create and have the independence and the economic and time freedom that we want. Sometimes time freedom is a notion rather than a reality. But and it also really just taught me that when I take action, that I can solve problems, and that business can be that vehicle for that. So the bottom line is I did eventually get the book, and it still remains to this day my favorite book. It was Heidi. I really wanted it, and I did eventually get it, and it was a really valuable lesson. But why I do this is because I never want someone to have to say, no, we can't afford it.
Right.
I know
And
that's a long answer to your short question.
Well, I was gonna say, I love hearing that story though, too. And because it is true, like, yes, you didn't necessarily have, the result you wanted right away, but you did learn that I can take something and I can make something from it and I'm going to profit from it. Right. And then you're able to turn around and now help other entrepreneurs be as successful as they can as well. So I love that.
Yeah. 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 And it became a passion then, and it's still a passion to this day, 40, 50, a long time later. Over
Exactly.
50 years later.
Right. We're not going to say your age.
I was going to say, don't do the math. It's too hard and too complicated. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know you have some strong opinions about some that are taking more people out of the game than they're helping to succeed. So do you want to touch on that a little bit more?
I love ranting about this. So yes, I would love to. So especially in the what I call the online expertpreneur world, or the expertpreneur world where people sell what they know. So coaches and consultants and specialists and so forth, there's a whole industry that serves that demographic, those people. And they in many ways are doing something of value. They're selling what they know, they're selling their expertise, but I call them the gurus on the top of the mountains. And what they're doing is they're selling what I call pieces of the profit plane. So one person selling the wings of a Cessna, learn how to become a speaker and speak from stage and you'll make millions. And someone else is selling the engine of a 747, build your online program and then you're going to make $1 million in a weekend, and other stories like that. And write your book in a weekend, and all of this stuff. And these things do work at the top of the mountain when you have infrastructure and you have team and you have a big list and you have influence and you have reach. Then those things do work. Those leveraging strategies work. But the problem is they're selling them to people who are down at the bottom of the mountain or on the way up, who don't have all of that in place, who don't have lists of 40 and 50,000, and who are trying to apply these leveraging strategies and build this profit plane. But the problem is they don't have a schematic for what kind of plane they want to build and that fits them. They're buying these cookie cutter pieces and they don't fit together and they don't have their blueprint. Secondly, they don't know what kind of plane they want. Do you want a glider so you can have a nice easy lifestyle and a side hustle? Do you want a 747 because you want to take a movement with you, around the planet or something? So you got to know, who do you want to be and what kind of business do you want to build before you start buying the components of the business. And then the last thing, the thing that I really annoys me, is that they don't actually have what I call a revenue runway, a place for this plane to take off and land on. And so what ends up happening is the plane crashes, and then people think it's their fault, and it's not. It's because these gurus at the top of the mountain are selling the wrong things to the wrong people at the wrong time. So it might be the right fit for you, but it's not the right stage of business that you're at. Or it might be so you might be at that stage of business, but it's not something that actually suits you organically. It might be something that fits if you're a raging extrovert and you're an introvert or something. So I get mad at them selling these often very expensive solutions. I have seen thousands and thousands of people who have what I call shelf help shame. They've bought these programs or coachings or various things. They put them on the shelf, they do nothing with them, and then they have shame because they've actually just widened the gap between what they know and what they're doing. And that's what takes them out of the game. That's where I think we're taking more entrepreneurs out than we're putting in. And so people need to stop selling the wrong solution to the wrong people at the wrong time, have some integrity, have some intentionality, be willing to say, no, you're not ready for this yet. And B, people need to stop buying based on aspiration, greed, and the silver bullet mentality of, yes, I can have everything in a weekend, or I can, build my business in 4 weeks, or, other such myths that get propagated. Like, get
Mhm.
realistic, get practical, get grounded, and find the model that fits for you, which
Mhm.
often, by the way, we're reinventing how we do business, and especially women, because I think we're being called to step up and say, what's a different way of doing things? What if we
Mhm.
weren't using, manipulative, and by the way, not just men are manipulative in sales, but what if we weren't using manipulative, hooky ways of marketing and selling? What's a different way of doing that? What if we weren't, doing the push and power over and so forth? And what if we weren't doing things the way we've always done them? Then what? How do we
Right.
reinvent business as part of doing it in a way that fits for us authentically and organically and isn't coming from that place of push? I know so many people, and especially women, who have beautiful gifts to share and are just tired because they're trying to be all things to all people and do everything and be on every social media platform, all of those things that just don't work.
Mhm.
So my goal is to help a lot of people have their shoulders drop, have their income go up, and have the amount of difference that they make actually increase because they're doing what works for them instead
Right.
of what, these cookie cutter solutions advocate.
Right. So one of the ways that they will have to do that is by actually finding clients that need their product and service. So today's topic, of course, is talking about how to get your next 10 clients. So what would you say are the steps for a business owner to get those next 10 clients?
Right. Well, and that's, a lot of what I work on is how do you get your next one or 10 or
Mhm.
tens or hundreds of clients, depending on the stage you're at. So the first thing you need to do is figure out what stage you're at. And one of the ways to do that is I have a quiz that I'll give you the link for later that you can take for free that just helps you identify what stage am I at, because there's 5 different stages. If you're at the dream builder stage where you're just thinking about this, then you're going to be doing very different activities than if you're at the business builder stage where you've got infrastructure and you've got team and you've got things in place. So for most of the people who are listening, you're probably at the practice builder stage, meaning you're a solopreneur or you're growing a small business and you're working on getting, let's say, your next 10 clients. One of the things that I would encourage is you really want to focus on is pull back from the one-to-many marketing you've been doing and focus on having more conversations.
Mm.
So conversations means network more. Conversations means more invitations into those one-to-one sales calls and
Mhm.
conversations. Most people are so busy trying to be out all over social media, which is not a conversation, it's a broadcast, that they forget to connect with people. And at the
Mhm.
stage of the practice builder stage, you need to increase the number of connections. So you need to be networking more, virtually or live, doesn't matter. Yes, you need to be seen and you need to be out there and have a way that people can get into your sphere. So maybe you speak, maybe you do some social, like blogging or something like that, that people engage with. That's very passive. So I'm not a big fan of that.
Mhm.
Um, you do need some kind of lead magnet, which we can talk about in a minute, where you can start capturing names, but then you got to do something with those names. And most
Mhm.
people I talk to, if they aren't focused on building a list, they need to be. But if once they start building a list, then you actually got to engage with your list. So the number one thing that I would say is if you are not having a minimum of 3 to 5 conversations with human beings every week, you're not going to get any clients, you're not going to make money. And
Mhm.
3 to 5 conversations are not just about, tell me all about you. That is the primary focus of it, but it's geared towards how can I be of service to this person? It
Mhm.
might be that you're selling them your services. It might be you refer them somewhere else. Perhaps you get an affiliate fee. It might be that you just give them some ideas and tips because you're not a good fit. But if you're
Mhm.
not having a conversation about how can I help this person with at least 5 people a week, you're going to be broke.
Right. Right. That's
That's
so
just
true.
the bottom line.
Mhm. And you said there were 5 stages.
Yep. So the
Uh,
5 stages that I've identified that I created is the dream builder stage, where you're thinking
mhm.
about getting into it. You're just starting, you're just getting rolling. You may not be really clear on your 3 whys and a what. Why do I do what I do? Who do I serve? And what's the problem I solve?
Mhm.
why do they need me? And why do they need what I have? So if you're not real clear on those things yet, you're probably in the dream builder stage or early practice builder. Many practice builders, that's the next stage. And whether you're service-based or you have products, I still call it under practice builder, are people who are establishing a business, getting rolling, probably making under $100,000 a year still at this stage. So if you're dream builder, you've probably made less than 20. Practice builder or 20 to 100. You may have some subcontractors maybe, but you don't have a lot of team, etc. And you're serving tens of people, not hundreds. Business builder, you're starting to move into serving hundreds of people. You may have leveraged offerings. You probably have more support resources, again, still probably part-time, perhaps moving into full-time as you get your business more established. You're making over 100,000 to somewhere in the 100 to 250 range. And you're really established in terms of the problem you solve. You're really clear on your 3 whys and a what. You're starting to leverage and move into the one-to-many in business builder. And then there's impact builder. That's where you're really starting to have a presence. You have a movement. You're helping thousands of people, not hundreds. You're moved into a business where you've got a full support team. You're making anywhere from $500,000 to millions of dollars, depending on the type of business you have. And you're really focused on changing something significant in the world. So whatever it may be, you could be selling ball bearings and still be committed to changing something in the world in terms of how your business serves the world, or you could be something that's more, idealistically driven. And then there's legacy builder. Those are the people who are here to make a difference, perhaps through their business, perhaps not. They may be scaling down in lifestyle. They may be scaling up in philanthropy, but they are more focused on what am I leaving behind rather than what am I doing and building right now. And what's the difference that's going to be my legacy? Those are the 5 stages that I've identified. And the problem for most people, when I work with clients, that is the number one common problem. They are doing business builder strategies at a practice builder stage. And it's just not working. They're spending tons of time, money, and effort, and they're not getting the return on investment, and they think it's them. It's not. It's not you. That's the good news. It's not you. You're not screwed up. You're not broken. You're not incapable or incompetent. You're probably just doing the wrong thing at the wrong time.
So what is a tip maybe that you would give to someone like in each of those stages on how they can attract, the next client, the next 10 clients to help them?
So at the dream builder stage, the first thing you want to do is get really clear on why you're doing what you're doing. Because you want that to drive and direct the conversations and the exploration that you're about to engage in. At the dream builder stage, you're exploring. You're not actually putting a lot out. You're putting stuff out, but purely for the sake of seeing what lands, what resonates with you, so you can get clearer. And the best way to get clarity is to be in action. Don't try and get clear and then take action. Go get in action. Have those conversations and be willing to say, I can help you with this, and then try it out and see, can you actually help them with that? So at the practice builder, at the dream builder stage, you're going to learn by doing, and you're going to do it wrong and bad and with the wrong people and so forth. But that's really valuable and important. Do as much of that as quickly as you can. And so you're going to have lots of conversations and look at people who are doing what you think you may want to do, not so that you can be them and copy them, but what resonates with you, and then go try it and do that. So you're having conversations mostly as research, and in that research, you're likely going to come across a few people that you can support. So your number one thing to do is research and go and do networking with people in that way. At the practice builder stage, you're honing in that research a little more specifically and concretely. I have almost all of my clients do a survey with their ideal demographic if they knew who it is, and if not, they try it with a couple of demographics that they think might be their ideal people. And they're asking, what are the challenges when it comes to solving this problem? So at the practice builder stage, you want to really figure out what is the problem you solve, for who, and what, and how, not so much the methodology, but what are the key steps and stages that you take your customer journey on? What is that? When you know that, then you're going to go out and have conversations, do a survey with a bunch of people, And then about, I'm creating a program and I would love your feedback. And when I create this program, would you like to hear about it? Now you've got a list of warm prospects that you can go back to. You want to get in front of people and start building your list. So you want 1 or 2 really good lead magnets that will support you in doing that, so that you can start to engage with those people and have conversations. Basically, you want to go out and talk to as many people as you can about them, not about you. People think networking to get their next client is telling people all about you. It's not. The more you're talking about you, chances are good that the more you're off. You want to be talking about them, the problem they have, and then how can you help them solve that problem? But just like you wouldn't go to a doctor and say, my foot hurts, and have him hand you a prescription without doing any diagnosis. You wouldn't trust that the prescription, like, does it hurt because it's got a nail through it, or does it hurt because I've got gout? Like, what is this problem solving? People jump to prescribing before they've diagnosed. So your job and the way you're going to get the most clients is go out and diagnose, understand the problem, and have lots of engaging conversations around what's your problem and how can I help you? Oh, okay, here's how I can help you. So one-to-one conversations. In the business builder stage, to get those next 10 clients, you want to start doing leveraged offerings. So you want to do some group things. So that might be webinars, it might be speaking, it might be doing group programs. You might be starting to do, depending on what stage you're at, some joint venture offerings or affiliate programs and promotions. That's where you start to leverage both your marketing, your influence, and your connections, and where you set up referral bases, perhaps. That's where you start having less one-to-one drawing people into your funnel, and more having other people and resources and you speaking to groups drawing people into the top of your funnel. And then you have to have a process for moving them through there and out the other end. And then Impact Builder is a grander scale of that, but really targeted to how do we get seen and heard and differentiate in the marketplace by solving a unique problem that no one else does, which is why all those gurus on the top of the mountain have that singular problem that they solve, is because that's how you differentiate at that stage in the marketplace. So really the key thing for most of the people here is, if you are not having a lot of sales conversations, you need to back your marketing bus up to focus on how does the marketing bring people into conversation and connection with you. One of the things that we've lost in business is the notion that connection is currency. So if we're not connecting with people, that's why you're not making money.
Right. It's so true. I think people are probably doing a lot on social media thinking, well, it doesn't cost anything, and they're investing their time on that. And maybe you get a couple likes or maybe a couple comments, but like you said, you're not really getting somebody who theoretically is going to need your product or service, or even if they are, you need to have that conversation to really find out what their situation is and then how you can actually meet their need to bring them in. So I agree with you too, that having those one-on-one conversations is really imperative. And you could do the other things just to kind of get your name out there or be in front of people. But if you're not really talking with people, you're not going to be drawing in those customers. So I think that's a fabulous point.
Yep. So and people resist it because they think they're going to get rejected, and they have all sorts of stories and notions. My 3-word solution to any of your sales resistance, I'll give you a 3-word solution to that problem. It's get over yourself.
Right.
It's not about you. Make it about them. When you are really over there in their world, what do they need? What are they struggling with? And why you care about that.
Right.
When you get over yourself and you get over that ego that's telling you, oh, don't be a bother, don't be pushy, you don't want to be seen to be, intrusive, all of that BS belief system.
Right.
When you get over that, one of the fastest, easiest ways is to just get over yourself and get over there in their world. That will help clients faster than anything else.
Right. And I think also just going into that conversation, not expecting that you're going to end up with a customer, right? The goal is to find out if you're the right fit. And if you're great, but if you're not, like you said, finding another resource that can help them, or sharing, their information with someone else that can, because you don't want to have someone that's not your ideal. It's not just about the numbers, right? Bringing someone in, you want to have someone that is actually the right customer for you. So
Exactly.
not being
And that
tied
you
to
can
that.
really help and make a difference too, because then you feel good, they feel good, you get testimonials, you get referrals. All clients are not created the same. And you know what? I get it, been there, done that. And over the 45 years I've been helping entrepreneurs, I know it's a little longer.
Right.
I get there is a time where we're desperate and any client will do.
Right.
Really, really, really want to encourage you to create money some other way so that you never have that sense of, I have to get clients. Because like you said, Candy, there's nothing that's more repelling than desperation. And so if you ever hear yourself saying, I've got to get a client, please go ask a family member to fund you, or go and arrange a loan, or sell the motorcycle you're not riding. Do something to take away that I got to, because that will, certainly not serve you, not serve them. And having that kind of financial foundation so that you don't have to will free you up to then get to choose to
Right.
come freely to that conversation, and you'll be a lot more effective.
And you'll both enjoy the relationship a little bit better too in the long run, I think. So,
Exactly.
but I know we are running short on time, so I do want to have you share the offer that you want to have for the listeners, and then also just talk about how people can connect with you, where they can find you, because I'm sure you have other fabulous resources you want to share as well.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that will support you in getting your next 10 clients is getting more people who know you and really establishing your credibility. So I want you to create what's called a buying criteria lead magnet. It's a tool that helps people have you figure out how to decide how to hire someone like you. So for instance, I have an ebook called How to Choose the Right Business Coach for You. And so this training that I'm giving your people is worth bazillions of dollars, but it's a 1-hour training with templates, with a guide on how to create information-based marketing. So something that adds value, that helps them figure out who you are, whether or not you resonate, and how to work with you, or if they want to work with you. So it's a free training. They can go to bodacity.ca/or/influence. And that just is a complimentary training, ebook, examples, etc., that walks you through how to create a lead magnet that when you're speaking or networking or even in one-to-one conversations, you can give people. It adds value. It helps create reciprocity. It helps establish your credibility and your authority. And it gets them on your list so that you can follow up with them and be of ongoing service.
Fabulous. Any other social media channels you want to share, how they can connect with you?
Sure. I would love anybody to come join me in my Facebook group called Bodacity, currently called Bodacity's Action Heroes. We're actually changing it to the Purpose and Profit Sisterhood very shortly. That's why I say currently. Because don't name your Facebook group something that no one understands what it is and what it does, by the way. I've been doing it for forever and forgot that. So the Purpose and Profit Sisterhood is for business women, fempreneurs, who are what I call business women on the grow. It's about mastering the inner and outer game of business, and lots of resources, great people, great community. So that's currently under Bodacity's Action Heroes on Facebook. And that will support you in joining a community that gets you, wants to support you. And by the way, I do work with a few good men, and we have some men in our group. I love men. It's just that I got a calling that said, go support women. So I've been doing that for a long time. So either go to bodacity.ca. You can also reach me at Jannette at Bodacity, JANNETTE, because my mother just wanted to be difficult, at Bodacity, BODACITY.ca. And by the way, Bodacity is bold plus audacious. It's not a word I made up. It's a way of being in the world, and it's really, truly what I'm committed to, is supporting you in getting that you matter and living like you do. And
Nice.
to do that, we sometimes need to grab life by the ovaries and go for it. We need to be bodacious in the world. So that's why Audacity is about supporting you in living your bold life and your bold business.
Fabulous. Well, thank you, Jannette, for being a guest on my show and sharing your expertise with the listeners.
I appreciate it, Candy, and I appreciate you really being a stand for creating a platform for people to be seen and heard, for adding value to your community, and really working. You invest time, money, effort, heart in being the difference that only you can be. So thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. And I do want to thank the listener also for tuning in. I hope you found this topic interesting and that it answered some questions about what steps to take to actually get your next 10 clients. If you have any additional questions or comments, be sure to reach out to Jannette at the link she shared or send us a message at media@abandp.com. I hope you can join us for our next episode, How to Access IRA 401k Retirement Accounts Penalty and Tax-Free. And please remember, you can connect with us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And my website is abandp.com. You can also find the podcast hosted on multiple favorite podcast platforms, including iTunes, Google, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And would you please share our show with those you know and leave a review on your favorite platform? I'd really appreciate your support. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Biz Help for You. Please join your host, Candy Messer, again next time. Have a terrific day.